So there are a lot of people out there that think because Illuvium is not a mobile Web3 game, that it's not going to have many players. And I think up until now, you would have had plenty of reason to believe that. Now, Gods Unchained is on desktop and has an okay player base and has for a very long time. But Axie Infinity and things like Pixels Online have a really large player base in the Web3 space. And yet they're both highly accessible, not only to mobile, but in the case of Pixels Online, you can access them from your browser. But I'm here to tell you that not all hope is lost. There is some new evidence that has come to light that suggests that there are plenty of people that are willing to play desktop games in the Web3 space. And I've always thought that, but it's really hard to see evidence of it. And I've got some interesting information today. And then I'm going to talk about why I think that's going to happen. But first, let's take a look at this snippet from the latest Najafe AMA with Kieran Warwick. And let's talk about that in just a moment.
The details, but I'd like to see 2 airdrops done, or two different drops, one campaign where, and I think a lot of people are like, hey, you just dropped the fuel. Is that one of them? And the answer is no, right? Like the thank you, I feel like is a good way.
So you heard it here that Kieran Warwick plans on having 2 airdrops for Illuvium. Okay, and he talks about it later in the video, but basically he wants it to go off a point system that is based around different activities you do in-game in the Illuvium ecosystem, whether it be Illuvium Zero, the Illuvium Overworld, or the Illuvium Arena. And I think this is all really good. This is the current meta in marketing a Web3 game, and we've already seen it bring in lots of different players, especially with something like Pixels Online, and we've seen it with a few other products as well. But what makes me think that this is going to attract a PC audience to Illuvium, and as the title suggests, I think Illuvium could reach 1 million players. I have no idea if it's going to happen this year, but I have a few things that I want to suggest and speculate on, and I think you guys are going to really like it. But before we talk about that, we have to briefly discuss this project, because that's where I'm finding some of this new evidence, and it is called Nyan Heroes. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. As you can see, it looks great. It looks really playable. I don't know if I would say AAA, but the graphics and the playability and the smoothness and everything looks really great. What I can say is, as far as Web3 games go, this looks like a proper game, which is the same thing I would say about Illuvium. It's got some time behind it, it's got some mechanics, it's got a gameplay loop. Now this is heavily multiplayer team-based gameplay, likely more exciting to a larger amount of players, but Illuvium is going to get to that multiplayer route eventually as well and things like that. So I really think that there is some audience overlap at minimum, because they're both played on the PC and not even low-end PCs. Now, I don't know what the specs you need for Nyan Heroes are, but I would assume it's actually really similar to the minimum specs to run Illuvium, if not a little bit harder to run Nyan Heroes, because Illuvium actually has some really good optimization in the game up till this point in time. And here is where it gets juicy. Nyan Heroes is running an airdrop campaign, and one of their events is to repost a very specific post. And here it is right here. This thing has 200,000 reposts. And for those of you who don't know, you can actually validate the mission with just a like. It has 280,000 likes. Now, this doesn't necessarily equate to gamers and people willing to play the game. But this does suggest to me that there is at least 250,000 people that are waiting to play this game that is dropping on March 26th. Not too far away from Illuvium's launch themselves. 250,000 players. But how do we get to 1 million? First off, Illuvium is a much higher quality game with much better graphics, probably better optimization as well. But that's not really where I'm going with this. In my opinion, marketing is just the spark that lights the fire. What I mean by that is, marketing gets your game in front of lots of different people. And we know that marketing and airdrop campaigns can get a game like Illuvium in front of at least 200,000 people. Let's put it that way. You can get in front of 200,000 people. The true test of a game's retention and growth is actually word of mouth. If I go in and play Illuvium for the first time because I'm going to get some ILV tokens out of it, I go and play it a bunch and all the rest of it, then I'm like, crap, I actually really like this. I caught this Atlas. That is really cool. I'm going to go tell my friend Luke or my friend Vince or Jerry go and play the game. You're going to really enjoy it. And then they jump in, and then if everyone grabs 5 friends, you hit 1 million. Now that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but hear me out. Imagine someone goes in, they pay $1 to enter a stage 1 run, reasonable for them, I don't know. They go in and enter a stage 1 run, and they capture 2 atlases and sell them for like 80 cents or $1, or they get a holo atlas and they sell it for like $10. Now they're really telling their friends. And then get this, you have 200,000 people that spent $1, and everyone's starting to get revenue distributions on all of this money that's churning through the ecosystem, even in its early days. The ILV tokens going up based on revenue distribution or whatever else, or people are getting passive income. And then that sends out information to the rest of the community. They're saying, not only can you go in and participate in this airdrop, not only can you earn money from selling your alluvials, but people who hold a token are getting passive income. This revenue distribution thing that has been a concept for 3 years actually works. It's working, okay? And then what do you say? It has more dividends than other large companies or something? I don't know. There's lots of other ways to speculate on this. But I think what this tells us is that there is at least 2 to 250,000 people that I believe are waiting to play a game like this. And that's proven by the different reposting and likes and things on the airdrop campaign for Nyan Heroes. And then after that, the game just has to be good. And I think it's going to be good enough to do some decent word of mouth, but with upgrades coming across 2024 and early 2025, Illuvium is going to be the game that changes Web3 gaming.